Hi, so yesterday was Trans Visibility Day, which was very hard for us who believe the immoral and unethical $53 trillion business that is transitioning is disgusting. So, and there you have it. If people arguing about kids getting puberty blockers that have been used for 30 years to stop girls and boys from maturing too soon. Totally get that. Periods at 13, that's wrong. Periods at 8 even, that's wrong. Totally get why there are puberty blockers. And then they stop taking them. But this industry is abusing those drugs because I told you how much it's worth. And a lot of these media outlets that are advertising everywhere and supporting all this, they all have massive financial stakes in hospitals that have gender clinics. So why the hell wouldn't they use their voice and their reach to tell everybody to go get transitioned? Do you feel a bit weird in your body? Are you a girl who actually enjoys climbing trees? Are you a boy that likes putting on your mum's shoes? Then you are definitely a trans. And you need to talk to your parents about getting drugs. It's so easy. All you have to do is throw a tantrum. Maybe even throw in the word suicide. I mean, what kids never said, Mum, buy me a PS5 or I'm going to kill myself. Now, those parents were the ones with a brain who said, don't be ridiculous. Not doing that. And it's a $700 console. But when it comes to kids saying, I want to completely change my sex, I'm 14, do it, or I'm telling everyone and I'm going to kill myself, these parents snap into action and they're paying millions to do this for their children. I can't fathom it. And, you know, adults, you can really do what you want. So long as you're not muddling trans rights and women's rights, so long as they're not fighting against each other, which they are, because they just want what we've got. That is what transitioning from male to female is. They want what we've got. They've had their midlife crisis, or they're just not happy with them. They're not scoring with the ladies like they want. They've got something wrong with them. Most of them, they just have a bit of a fixation with women's clothes, makeup. And you can find people who like that and are into that. But putting on a wig, calling yourself her and a lesbian isn't going to do it. It just speaks to that there's something mentally wrong with you. Everybody can see that. And, you know, it's great that like can be attracted to like. You can find your community, but you shouldn't invade the LGBT community. It doesn't benefit the LGBT anymore. It's all about the T. They're getting more and more pushed out. And it's just happening. I mean, I'm all for speaking up and telling everybody to speak up, and it's been argument after argument yesterday, arguing with people about this, that and the other. And you'll never get through to these people. They are fixated on it's harmful to not listen to children and do what they want. It's harmful. Apparently it's more harmful than actually giving in to them and giving them puberty blockers, hormones, and eventually surgery, apparently. Telling them to just have their child life, and when they become adults, the age of consent to do these things to yourself, because parents just give in for fear of, you know, retribution from society, which is just wrong and it's awful. So, I mean, it's not just the kids, but the kids are being influenced by these adults, and it's just getting more wrong as the day goes on. And putting your voice to it is great. Like I say, on Facebook, you know, arguing with these people, putting the facts across. You won't win. There's nothing to win. The only thing that can happen is it becomes law. It becomes law to safeguard women and what it is to be a woman. But eventually, it's happening. There's going to be men's sports, and there's going to be mixed sports. But there's not going to be any women's sports anymore, because women are not going to play in sports anymore. So there'll be mixed teams of soccer and hockey and things like that. But the pure women's sports, they're going to go, because no woman's going to want to be involved in that anymore. The constant battle for losing and being called TERF and trans exclusionary and all that lot. It's going to end. It's going to end with women being erased. So we do need to speak and add our voices, but we need to do it by telling our stories, complaining to the Human Rights Commission, because they're saying, well, nobody's complained. No women are complaining. We're all complaining to each other and other people on Facebook. We need to get those stories to the right places, get it officiated and documented, get it into law that we need safeguards, we need protection. Women do. Let's not protect these men anymore. I mean, it's the only way to do it, really. I mean, these trans radical activists, a lot of men, but mostly women, I mean, they're going to keep pushing this. And some of them, it doesn't even affect them. They don't have any trans people in their lives. They just want to speak out for society, get their voice out. They want to be considered progressive and be an ally to these people. That's what they want. So the only way to shut it all down is to get it made in law. What is a woman? What are women's rights? And let's protect them. Let's not give them to men. If they want different rights to what men have, then let them go for trans rights, something separate, their own this, their own that, whatever it is. But let's not let them completely take over women's rights, women's movements. I mean, it's getting out of control now. Women's refugees closing down because those in charge just can't support men coming into the system that call themselves women. So they're closing down because they can't turn them away. So what they can do is close it down. And it's wrong. It's getting so bad. And, you know, women prisoners being subjected to rape from men who, at the time of arrest, claimed to be women. So not only does that crime go against a woman perpetrator, they go to a woman's prison. And even if it's rape on women, they're allowed free reign at these women's prisons. I can't believe the law is letting this happen, all for this progressive nonsense that's going on at the moment. It has to stop. So we have to speak out, we have to talk. And I'm looking at campaigns. What campaigns do we have? What have we got that pushes these laws and rights? What are they? So I'm looking into it actively now. What can I do? What can I support? What can I put my time into? What can I do to reach out to people? So people who are not interested in this, don't think it's a problem, don't know it's a problem, don't really care, just get on with life. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. That was me just a couple of months ago. But I just feel that if people knew, like if I'd known last year this was going on, I'd have been massively involved in it, but I didn't know. So there's a failing somewhere to get this message out there. So I'm actively looking for ways to do it. So if anybody's got any suggestions where I go to start a campaign or get involved with a campaign, I'd love it. Thanks. And just to tag on the end there while I'm still thinking, yesterday I read a piece by a trans-identified man who transitioned in his 40s, claiming he'd always felt not right about himself, something not right about himself, maybe he was in the wrong body. Yet this person courted a woman, led her to believe that they would be together forever, in the fact that he asked her to marry him, and married her and gave her 3 children. And then when obviously she got to 40, frumpy, bit boring, everything's not changing, kids are teenagers now, they don't need anybody, they just get on with it. He decided to give in to his fetish of women's clothes, because he said that in the statement, that wearing women's clothes made him feel better. And he was apologetic to his wife and kids a couple of times. Definitely said sorry for what he put them through, that he'd let them get on with the explaining to everybody in society, their family and friends, what was going on, while he wallowed in his suffering. He admitted that. But I don't remember him saying anything about what a selfish prick he was, that he didn't make the decision to leave women alone and let them, well, his wife, and let her marry somebody who was honest about the marriage, that they would be together forever, that there was no skeletons in the closet, and that he would be in the family home till the kids grew up and left themselves. He could have done that, but he didn't. He wanted a young woman in his 20s, father his children, give him what he needed. Then, when his midlife crisis hit, I'm wearing shoes and dresses, and I'm going to go the whole hog now. Screw everybody else. So it was just, it didn't do him any justice to me. It's just a load of selfish nonsense, narcissistic, and then educating everybody on the pronouns that we need to use for him, and how we need to change our language to suit him, because it's only fair, because he is a woman. And it's just that this is what I assume most of them feel like. And it's a male thing, absolutely self-centred. Males always have been. My husband is, my son is. You know, they've been, and it's not, like I said the other day, it's not their fault. Society, from birth, for definitely the last 40 years since my husband was born, has been all about men are better than women. They're the breadwinners, they're the hierarchy, they're this, that and the other. And it's just how it is, and we women have allowed that because it was normal for us, normal for them, normal for us. And also, you know, it was our parents too. We witnessed what our parents were doing. My mum and dad worked full time, but my dad would come home and he'd sit in the armchair. My mum would cook tea and deliver it to him in the armchair, and then go on and do some cleaning, because that's what her mother did, and it was normal, and that's what was normal back then. But luckily, my husband's mother didn't bring him up like that. He did his chores, his fair share, didn't sit on his ass and whine and moan. His mother, well, his cousins used to call his mum Auntie Hitler, which is very appropriate. But yeah, no, she didn't stand for none of that crap. She made him do stuff. So luckily, I got a husband that does most of the cooking, helps out with the cleaning, helped 50% with the kids, except for the breastfeeding. I dealt with that because, you know, as a chest feeder, I'm the only one that could have done it. But Craig did have the right to breastfeed them. He's got the right to breastfeed them if he wants. He can't, but there are people out there fighting for his right to breastfeed them. So that's good. I'm sure he appreciates that. But yeah, so just wanted to talk about that because that was just on my mind then. Because I think this piece came out from the Trans Visibility Day, where yeah, and I'm just hoping we can start a biological reality day where we give our stories and people are supposed to listen to them. I mean, they're just real life stories of just existing, but these trans stories are just magnificent and fantasized, and they're all about coming out and glamour and, you know, winning against the TERFs and the women who say they're women. They're not the real women, we are. But our stories are just hard-working mums, women, girls, just trying to get on with it, but finding that we can't because there's this section of society that want to put us down or take it away. That's where we are now. Good fun.